Thanks so much for coming. Welcome to the AIGA conference and the Emerging Designers Symposium. I'm excited to introduce everyone and tell you more about myself and get started here today. So I'm Ryan Fitzgibbon. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of a magazine called Hello Mister. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram with this handle, Ryan Fitzgibbon. And I'm going to be asking all the designers questions after their talks. So I encourage you to send me questions and tweet with the hashtag and also at me so that I can see them. So welcome. And here's the handle, AIGA Design, and the hashtag AIGA Design. I will see them. I'm 30. I live in New York City. Growing up in a small town in Michigan left a lot to be desired for a young gay boy like myself. So after I got my BFA at Grand Valley State University in Grand Rapids, I moved to the Castro in San Francisco and worked for IDEO for about 3 years. 5 years ago, though, I left to start my own magazine called Hello Mister. So today I'm going to talk to you about making space for emerging designers and how I've done that in my own work. In 2012, Hello Mister launched with a mission to publish news stories about men who date men. Scale was never a measure of our success, rather a means to create greater impact. So for what purpose and how? This image means a lot to me, and this is kind of the purpose. First, because I took it at my mom took it at the Barnes & Noble in my hometown, which is where I used to go and look for magazines that I could relate to as a closeted teenager. But also, it means a lot because of how starkly different it appears in the sea of heterosexual magazines trying to tell you how to improve your body and your sex life and all of these things. So, like I said, print is 100% about visibility for us. Gilbert Baker was 27 when he created the first rainbow flag. Our job as gay people, he said, was to come out, to be visible, to live in the truth. Flags are about proclaiming power and saying, this is who I am. So by making a physical indie magazine that was gay, print was an entry point for us into something bigger. And it could break into spaces where we traditionally have never really been in this kind of world of the kinfolks and gather journals. So look no further than our Instagram to see what I'm talking about. More than a magazine, though, Hello Mister is a collective. It's a community of artists, writers, and readers that wanted to feel like they were part of something bigger. It's part of their identity and a way to showcase their values. It's a place for new voices to share their stories and express themselves creatively. These are some of my fave fan art pics. And there are so many queer stories that still need to be heard, but there really aren't enough resources or places for them to thrive. My approach to activism has always been a more subtle one. The momentum of marriage equality movement was well underway before Hello Mister launched in 2012, 2011. So the timing of our release was really well aligned to position me as a leader in the post-marriage identity and that whole conversation that was happening. We as gay people were finally being seen in the mainstream. But on June 12th, 2016, the LGBT community suffered a horrifying loss at Pulse nightclub. And I actually happened to be in Minneapolis when that all happened. I was judging the design competition last year for the local chapter, and I felt like I was not close enough. It just really changed me forever, actually, personally. Simple visibility was not a strong enough argument to count as activism anymore. And I realized that I had gotten really comfortable in this little print indie world that I had created. It took everything I had in me to finish issue 8 in the aftermath of this tragedy. But our cover story really kept me going. I wrote about the choice to put Javier Munoz, the star of the musical Hamilton, on our cover in an open letter to our readers. While working on Hamilton, Javi, who had been HIV positive since 2002, was diagnosed with cancer. In the worst of his remission, he explained what pulled him through was the motivation to get back on stage, not only for the audience, but for the story. It was worth fighting whatever I had to fight, he said. And this is the cast of Hamilton reading that infamous statement of resistance to Vice President Mike Pence just 2 months after our issue was released. That determination to make your voice heard, especially in today's political climate, is what gets me out of bed. It's what keeps us awake at night. It's how we will persevere. And in the months following, as Trump took office, things around the world for queer people, specifically the trans community, and LGBT people in Chechnya and Uganda got even worse. My grief was now layered with anger, and I became paralyzed with the responsibility to lead my community, the Hello Mr. readers, forward. I had been building this brand with my slow and steady approach to activism and creating change for 5 years. But I really felt like it was for nothing at that point and that no one was really even listening. So I took the advice of friends and professionals and decided to postpone my next issue release and take care of myself a little bit. I had this idea for a magazine within a magazine, but I didn't really put the two together until as a way to amplify other voices, until I gave myself that time to think and recharge. A common question that I receive a lot is why I haven't started a magazine about women who date women. Personally, I can only really reflect my experience, and I have no authority to speak on behalf of someone else's. But with my insights from building Hello Mister, I realized I could offer my knowledge to others and let them speak for themselves. So this year, I launched a residency called The Issues. And with mentorship from our network, The Issues is a 3-month incubator, essentially, for new ideas in queer publishing. Each magazine in residence will be printed and distributed inside of each issue of Hello Mister. So literally using our platform to extend new ideas. So it's creating an opportunity to highlight more experiences within the greater LBT community, NQ, but still endorsed within our pages. So we just released our last issue, which included our first zine in residence called Brunch Club. This is Colby and Ernest outside of my office in Brooklyn. And they're exploring the lives of queer people of color in unexpected corners of the country. Using Brunch Club as our first prototype, I've stripped down it to the fundamentals of creating a magazine and shadowing my experience really through Hello Mister and giving that back. So I'm currently developing the curriculum for this zine academy, I'm calling it, as well as assigning mentors to the residents to help them create their final products and bring it to life. So just like a really high-level overview, weeks 1 and 2 of the residency will be on research and understanding your target audience. This is them with their mentors, designer Nigel Taylor and Philip Bacardi of Teen Vogue. So super all-star talent, kind of helping them get their idea out there. Weeks 3 to 5, branding and developing that tone of voice. Some of their early sketches of their identity. Week 6 to 9, the content, aka making it happen. And week 10, logistics, getting it out into the world, getting it on the shelf and all of the boring stuff that I spend most of my time figuring out. And then finally, marketing and celebrating the results. So figuring out how to endorse it on their own Instagram and have other people endorse it, and then throwing their launch party, which just happened in Brooklyn, which was super fun, and it was nice for me to kind of step back and watch them experience it. So like Javi, talking about how his need to fight and get back on stage in order to be heard, it took me a lot to get out of bed this year, honestly, and to find the motivation within myself to keep on fighting. But seeing the determination of hunger of our first residents, really wanting to tell their story and bring it to life and be heard, put so much purpose back into my work. And I'm really excited to see how this residency evolves and develops as we start accepting applications for our next zine this weekend. So if you have an idea, you can apply. We'll be publishing the new issue in March, and they'll be tucked inside. As makers, we all have great advantages over many in this world who are voiceless. Everyone in this room does. And everyone wins when we use our platforms to lift others up. So I'm just going to leave it there, and we'll get started hearing from the real people who are doing the work. So thanks for listening. Before we do get started, I'm excited to introduce to you our sponsor today from 3M Design, the Health and Business Group, User Experience, Poet Pan.
My name is Poet Pan. I am a user experience designer for the healthcare business group at 3M. And with a show of hands, how many people here know that 3M has a design center? Okay, some of you, okay, good. So at 3M Design, our philosophy is inspiring collaborative creativity. Collaboration, connecting with customers and our teams is vital to what we do. We have support from the top down to incorporate design into everything that we do, and through this level of support, we're able to work alongside talents across 3M for better solutions. Here's an example of a collaboration with up-and-coming designers, Fyodor and Golan, at London Fashion Week earlier this year. Inspired by colors and shapes of posted products, the collection brings design to life in the world of fashion, empowering the freedom of self-expression. Collaboration like these enable us to explore creative possibilities using 3M materials. Alongside collaboration, we strive to discover and connect with the best minds to brighten and inspire our creative solutions. I'm very proud to be surrounded by passionate, graphic, industrial, user experience designers who work alongside business, scientists, engineer partners across 3M to creatively solve for real-world problems. But wait, you do more than Scotch tape and Post-it notes? Yes, we do. Did you know that we're also in healthcare, consumer, industrial, safety and graphics, and electronics and energy? Given the array of businesses we are in, we're able to produce a wide spectrum of products across the globe. This presents us with the opportunity to learn new skills and always have a plethora of products to creatively solve for. 3M is committed to design. We have built a creative design hub at our headquarters here in Minnesota to house designers as a place to inspire and to be inspired. Not only do we have the main corporate design center here in the Twin Cities, but we also have design centers in Italy, India, China, and Japan. With passionate designers, collaboration, and an array of challenges to solve for, and a center built for designers, we can help inspire creative solutions globally. Thank you.